Hello, welcome to another edition of the Pigskin podcast. I'm Noah Jones, and that's Kurt Conrad. He's a sports writer, and I like to talk sports as well. So we're here talking to you with Travis Tarnowski, the quarterback of the Ashland Eagles. We're excited to have you here. Kurt, you want to start us off?
Yeah, Travis, thanks for being here. You guys can find us at iTunes if you're interested. We really appreciate you guys checking us out and at the Google Play Store. And on our YouTube channel too. So Travis, again, thanks for being here. We really appreciate it. And before we talk AU football, let's talk a little bit about. I was doing some research last night, and I came across your dad. Your father is Jeff, and he is a member. And I want to get this right. A member of the United States Flag and Touch Football League Hall of Fame. Well, just tell us a little bit about that. I consider myself a pretty knowledgeable sports fan. I didn't know there was a Hall of Fame for Flag and Touch football.
It's pretty interesting. Just it was back. I was really little, but he played with some of his brothers, high school friends, and they got a league together. They had like a local bar, and that was kind of like their sponsorship, I guess.
Right.
The ZNS Lounge. That was the bar that
right
I would go to, and then that was kind of their sponsorship. That was their name. They won a bunch of national.
Yeah, it looked like he was
the
MVP.
He was pretty creative when it comes to football mind, he'd be play quarterback for that team. We'd come back, he'd have film, I was probably 3, 4, 5 years old.
Right.
And, I'll just sit there and watch it with him. And, he's the reason I wanted to play quarterback. He played quarterback a year at Ohio Wesleyan, and then they couldn't afford it anymore, but then he started playing flag football, with his brothers and a couple other friends. The stories with that is just, they're hilarious. It's fun, the road trips and all that stuff is hilarious. But he's the reason I wanted to play football. He's the reason I wanted to play quarterback. I remember when I first told him I wanted to play quarterback. Back when I was 4th, 5th grade, he was my coach. What position do you want to play? Where do you want to play on offense? All this stuff. And he'd asked me, and I told him I want to play quarterback. And he's like, if you want to play quarterback, I'm going to be even harder on you than I already
Sure.
am. And if you want that, then we can go all in for that, but I'm going to be even harder on you than that. But, it's just cool that some of those memories coming back and watching some of those film and just see how how he did things, how he came up with, created some things, and I always loved just spending time with him watching that. So
It seems like they took it real serious, too. There are national tournaments and stuff like that. Is it I don't know, you always hear about guys who grow up with their dad's the coach. How do you look at the game, I guess, a little differently when you have a quarterback who's living under the same roof with you and explaining to you?
It was, yeah. I always remember, him just explaining the little things, like reading the guards on defense. He's like, that's how you can tell what the offense is going to run. If
Right.
they come forward, it's going to be a run. If they step back, it's a pass. Playing linebacker and stuff like that. Just little stuff like that. Reading what the safeties are doing, trying to pick up tendencies and stuff like
Right.
that. We always kind of, just when we watch football together, pick that stuff up and, kind of see like, they're going to run this here, they're running this here from tendencies and stuff like that throughout the game. And it's just something fun that, we connect with. And, yeah, when he was my coach, like I said, he always pushed me to be, be the best that I could be. And sometimes he'd get mad at me, but I think he did that on purpose because he knew when he got mad at me, I'd always kind of play better. But, it was just a lot of fun, growing up with him being my coach. And,
Right.
I never wanted to upset him, like my dad, but that's my coach, and it's kind of, I went on the field with both that, and I never wanted to upset him. Even out here today, I still want to make him and my mom proud, both of them. I want to make them proud, and I think that's part of the reason why I've had the success I've had, because I want to make them proud.
Right. And speaking of that success, you are AU's all-time. You either hold the record or you're going to hold the record here by the end of the season. You're one of the most accomplished quarterbacks in the university history. But before that, you were a standout at North Royalton, which is near between Strongsville and Brecksville, right up there, kind of a southern suburb of Cleveland. You led your team to the first and only playoff victory, I guess, still to that point. What do you remember about those years? I think you threw for almost 6,000 yards. You were a third-team All-Ohio. And just talk us a little bit about your high school career and playing for the Bears up there.
Yeah, when I was a freshman. I played freshman football. We went undefeated, and we kind of knew we had something special with that class there, and the class ahead of us, who were sophomores at the time. They were pretty good at football, and we knew that they had a lot of skill and a lot of talent too. And even the class behind us, who were 8th graders at the time, we said, well, in a couple of years we could we could be pretty special. And the freshman coach at the time, after that season was over, he's like, we're losing a senior quarterback next year. He's like, you could have a chance to play.
Right.
And so, and then that competition started between me and about 3 other kids, and the Coach Shuley named me the starter that first week, my sophomore year, and everything else is kind of history from there. We almost made the playoffs that first year. We only lost 1 game, a close game, and it was great. I've got a lot of good memories. Growing up playing football with a lot of those kids my whole life. Small public school, so I grew up like my dad coaching me.
Right.
One of our receivers, his dad was my coach too. Like all our life, we played together all my life, and it was just one of those things. I think we were really close. We were really it was a lot of fun. We had fun with it, and we were good football players. And by the time senior year came, we knew what it took. We had experience. A lot of seniors, like I said, that my freshman year class were those same kids that came through and were there my senior year. So
right.
Some of those kids went and played. Some Division III of the OAC. 2 of them came here with me, ended up leaving. But there's some of those kids that are in the OAC are having really successful careers and had successful careers there too. And one of them is starting running back at BW right now. So there's a lot of those kids that are having good careers there. So we had good football players. The coaches put us in good situations back then, and it was really cool to be able to win that first playoff game. It was something that was like our goal for the year: make the playoffs and win the first playoff game for the school.
And we were talking a little bit off before we started recording here. There was some talent, and there always is. You're in and you're out in Cleveland in that area. But your playoff victory, you guys beat Willoughby South. That team had Kareem Hunt, who's tearing it up for the Kansas City Chiefs now. They lost in the second round to St. Ignatius. They lost to Mitch Trubisky in the regional championship. There's an awful lot of talent up there. What's it like playing with all those guys? Do you guys know each other, or how'd that work?
Mitch and I, being both quarterbacks, we went to some camps together.
Sure.
Being recruited, so we went to camps together, and being from Northeast Ohio, and playing, mentor when you're 5th grade travel basketball or something
right.
like that. We always came across him, and even back then, Ben Gideon, who played at Michigan.
Right.
I'm not sure if he signed with the Vikings, but I think he was with the Vikings for a little bit. He might be on their special teams. He went to Hudson. I always remember playing against him too. And then, like you said, Kareem Hunt. Look what he's doing now. And both my roommates, our starting center and our starting kicker now, went to Willoughby South.
Okay.
So it's kind of a touchy subject still, but when they're not around, I kind of always joke around with my family. I ended his high school career.
Sure.
So, but it's kind of just one of those. It's cool to see how like the success he's having. When my 2 roommates talk about like how good of a kid he is, and
right.
like how he carries himself and how he always he even says like on TV if they do interviews with him, like he always shouts out Willoughby, like
right.
Like he's a very humble kid, and it was even back then watching him run, and we were like, how are we gonna stop this kid? Like it was crazy how good he was. Like there would just be a pile on the line of scrimmage, and then he would just pop out.
Right.
He just never went down. He had good vision. There was a lot of good talent, and obviously like Mitch Trubisky too. He was up there. I remember, I think I still have an article where me and him were labeled, like 2 quarterbacks from like the Cleveland area. I think the Plain Dealer up there. So it was just cool to see,
right.
Competition like that. I always loved competition, and he was getting recruited. I always was like, that makes me want to be better.
Sure.
I want to strive and reach as far as I can because he's getting this. I want to try and chase after that, and hopefully that'll take me as far as I could. And it brought me here, and I wouldn't want it any other way.
And you came here in 2013. You were redshirted your freshman year. You came in with a class that included St. Ignatius' quarterback Mike Lamanna and a kid at Coldwater who had a great career out there, Austin Bruns. And Austin played early. You redshirted. Where were you mentally there? Was it tough to sit out that year?
Yeah, it was really tough, especially coming off a year, like in high school,
right.
where we won our first playoff game. I was high on that, and then I was feeling good about where I was at football, and then I went to basketball, and we did a lot of good things in basketball. So I felt like I was performing well, and I wanted to come in, and I knew that there needed to be a quarterback and come in and play. And obviously, as a competitor, like I just said, I wanted to play.
Sure.
But I was only like 190 pounds. Now I'm like 210 pounds. So it was a big difference then. And I hated it at the time, but looking back on it, I always say redshirting was probably the best thing I could have done.
Right.
It helped me, learn the offense better. I wasn't just thrown out there and said, okay, learn on the go. I got to be able to sit back, and in the winter and spring that year, I really sat down, learned the playbook, was comfortable with it. You know, wanted to prove to the coaches that they can count on me in certain situations and be able to get the team in the right place. So redshirting was great. Now it was great. Back then it was tough. You know, you do a lot of hard lifting. I put on like 10, 15 pounds that first fall redshirting and not competing in the team. I think we went 5-5.
Right.
And you know, just that was still my team. And you know, this is like it was tough to be a part of that because I wanted us to win. And you know, I always felt like I could do that. You know, I could do this. I could do that. But you know, looking back on it, I wouldn't change anything for anything. And I'm glad that, you know, it was tough at the time. You know, I had a lot of long talks with my dad and my mom, and they were like, you know, stick it out. Everything happens for a reason. It's all going to work out. You know what? It did, and I just kept quiet, kept my mouth shut, just stuck to the grind, and it all paid off.
I know when we talked to Lee, I mean, Lee Owens, the coach here, there's a lot of responsibility for the quarterbacks here. I mean, I would imagine it, like you said, in hindsight, it's probably good that you had a chance to sit back and see exactly what's required of playing quarterback at Ashland University.
Did you go to Chipotle as often as you
No, not as much. It's a little bit farther. I didn't make that drive as much as he did. But there's a couple times I tagged along with him. That's for sure.
Trayvon Chapman, another guy who was a standout senior in your senior class, and he I think committed to Pitt originally, and then he ended up coming here and playing quarterback for half that year too. And I mean, dynamic-wise, I mean, is it kind of neat to see? I mean, different styles, I guess. I mean, because he was more of a dual threat guy, I guess, than traditional AU quarterbacks.
Yeah, he was. I mean, he was a good athlete. He came in here. I think he was one of those players that Coach Owens wanted to get on the field because he was so athletic, and he's kind of one of those players that he didn't know the playbook. He didn't know the playbook great. I mean, no true freshman would, but you could throw him out there because he's going to make some plays with his feet and be able to. I mean, he threw the ball well enough, so he'd be able to make some plays here and there. And, yeah, so it was cool to see him go out there and, you know, make some plays and have fun with that. You know, him and Bruns we all had a good relationship.
Right. And
they all, you know, we were all friends at the time. And then he ended up leaving, and then me and Austin that summer, you know, kind of competed for it. And I ended up winning the spot. But, I mean, after that, me and Austin had a great relationship. You know, we roomed every away trip.
Okay.
And then he ended up putting on a lot of weight, and he played a lot of good tight end for us last year, and was, you know, punted for us too. So it was kind of one of those examples. You know, he stuck to it too. You know, didn't complain, just played his role, wanted to get on the field, wanted to help the team, and he did a great job at that his last year, and I don't think he has any complaints about that.
So you win the job as a redshirt freshman in 2014. Your first game, you come out here and you set a record. You throw for 374 yards. I mean, just what was that experience like? I mean, was it all kind of overwhelming at the time, or?
Yeah, you know, I mean, I have no idea during the game, you know, how many yards I threw for. It always just kind of just goes so fast, and then next thing you know, you're back in the locker room. You're like, wow, what even just happened? You know, I think they announced it, and I was kind of like looking around. I'm like, this is my first start. Like, this is crazy. Like, what's going on? Like, I'm looking around. Like,
expectations must have been high.
Yeah, there's a lot. You know, I'm like, how do I top this? Like, where do I go from this? But you know, it was just really cool. You know, to get that first game. You know, get that confidence from that first game. You know, I had a lot of great players around me that made that possible. I mean, you know, a guy like Dan Pico, who I don't know, probably top 5 receiver here, receptions wise, and you know, a guy like Eric Tompkins, who was a sprinter and came and was easy to throw the long ball to. You know, I mean, my first touchdown was right in this corner, and I remember they had one-on-one coverage to him, and I checked just to fade to him. And that was my first touchdown right in this corner. So, you know, I had a guy like that, and, you know, Cameron Green, who's playing now for us, who we were both redshirt freshmen together, and, you know, guy explosive and quick like that, to be able to make plays with the ball, and then not to mention the 2 running backs, and who Vance was a sophomore at the time, did a redshirt, we came in together, and then Anthony Taylor back then too was all-time touchdown leader here.
Right.
So, and, you know, it made my job a lot easier having guys around me like that, but, you know, be able to have that first game here and kind of get my feet under me and, you know, see how game day goes and everything like that. And like I said, you don't really know. I had no idea that I was throwing for that many yards. I mean, I still can't believe it. Like, I look back and try and think, like, where did all these yards come from? But, you know, it just happens throughout the game. It was definitely a cool first game.
Right. Then sophomore year, you guys are what, 10-0 at home, or 10-0 on the season, what, second undefeated season ever maybe? I'm not real sure about that. Qualify for the playoffs. I mean, that had to be just absolutely thrilling to make it to the playoffs. I mean, you lost at home to Grand Valley in the playoffs, but I mean, just to get there and get a taste of Division II college football playoff atmosphere. What was that like?
Yeah, we didn't have many expectations that year, so I think it's kind of just we were having fun. We were a younger team, not many expectations, just a lot of guys trying to, play hard, play together, figure it out, and the coaches did a great job again. And getting in the playoffs, not ending how we wanted it to, but it was good to get that experience.
Right.
I'm still waiting to get back there. Hopefully, last year was a little bit of a disappointment, but hopefully this will be the year, and hopefully with that experience from that first year, it'll help me out a lot more this time. And there were some other guys that were there too, pretty experienced team, a lot of seniors this year, so hopefully we can get back there and carry over that experience. And that season didn't end how it was, and I'll never forget in the locker room after the game, Coach Owens, he pointed me out and promised me we'd get back. He promised that he would put me in good situations with the best possible players that he could to make sure that we got back there and got another chance at it. And, this is my last year, so hopefully we can make it happen this year. And I think a lot of guys believe in that, and I think that's the first step. You got to believe it before it happens, and I think we're headed in the right direction right now.
Last year, it looked to me like, you guys certainly passed the look test. You look like a playoff team to me. You guys finished 9-2, a couple road losses. You beat Ferris at Ferris. They ended up playing in the national semifinals. How disappointing was it after week 11 and not getting that call?
Yeah, it's definitely it was a heartbreaker, that's for sure. You never want to see your season end like that, especially beating a team like Ferris and going on the road the last week of the season and beating an ODU team who was, they ended up being 8-3.
Right, I thought that was the one that was going to kind of get you in there.
Yeah, they're pretty good. So, we went on the road and beat them, beat a good Ohio Dominican team, and like you said, we beat Ferris. We had some signature wins that, we could carry us, but then we had a couple, we had two letdowns last year, and we lost both those games by 3 points.
I was going to say, it's combined 6 points, their two losses last year.
And I think it's just one of those things that it had hurt at the time, and we might have relaxed a little bit, and I think that's kind of what knocked us down. We just expected to go in there and get it done, and from the guys who were back from last year, I think kind of been a lesson learned.
Mm-hmm.
I think it fueled a lot of us in the off season to work. Then not making it in kind of gave us that chip on our shoulder to work even harder in the off season and push ourselves as hard as we could. And personally, I worked as hard as I possibly could this summer. Working a job and still finding time to run. Sunday mornings I'm up 5 o'clock in the morning running stairs every Sunday. And just doing stuff like that I didn't do before. Something that I could kind of be like, well, you didn't do this last year. You lost here, you didn't make the playoffs. What are you going to do different this year to try and make yourself better and make your team better? And we have summer conditionings. I didn't miss any of the summer conditionings. I think there was a handful of us who we look at each other and would say, let's make sure when we do this, as the leaders of this team, it starts with us. We got to set the example. Set the right example, set the good example. Especially for, as veteran as we are, we're counting on a lot of young guys too, especially on our defense. They've been playing unbelievable football, but, I think, all those guys we wanted, as upperclassmen, we want to kind of set the tone and let them know, don't be the one, especially when I was younger, I didn't want to be the one to ruin the seniors last year. So I kind of wanted to set that tone, show them how hard, we worked, and kind of give them that attitude, don't be the one, don't let it fall on you, make sure you do what you're supposed to do type thing. And it's paid off, really. It's been great so far. We had, beginning of the year, we had a loss, but that's a great football team.
Right.
And we were right there, so it just goes to show how good of a football team we can be. We just needed to finish that first game and go all the way through, which we didn't, and we've been great ever since that.
Yeah, a couple weeks later, Ferris comes here. They're ranked number 2 in the nation. You guys, you put it on them that night. They were without their everything quarterback, but even if he played, I don't know if he's making that big of a. It was what, 20-3. They couldn't move the ball against your defense. That had to be kind of eye-opening, I guess, and let you know just how good this team could be.
Yeah, definitely. I think that was the, maybe some people, some outside people might have still had some
Right.
doubts. This team's we played Ferris 4, so we were 2-1, I think, going into that. There's probably some people outside of except in the locker room who probably wow, is this team for real?
Right.
They've got a senior quarterback, they've got a senior offensive line, they've got a lot of guys back on offense, but is this team for real? A lot of questions on defense and a lot of doubts still. And I think we came out here and our defense played the way they did. A lot of young kids playing the way they did, hungry, and offense. We came out here and didn't turn the ball over, grinded out some points, and our defense grinded out that win. And I think there's not many questions. There's not much doubt of what this team could be.
Right.
We just need to execute every single week, prepare every single week, and like it's Ferris State. We can't have a letdown like we did last year where you get relaxed. We beat Ferris State. Okay, cool.
Right.
We're gonna show up this weekend and we're gonna beat whoever we gotta play. Now you gotta go into this week and we're trying to prepare like it's the championship game,
right.
Because right now we're in championship race for the conference and the rest of our games are conference games. So we're just the attitude that Coach Owens and all the guys keep saying, this is the championship week because you can't afford a loss like we did last year. You're not going to win the conference, and who knows? You might not make the playoffs again. So that's kind of the attitude we've had each week now.
And that Ferris defense. I feared for your life out there. They had some big strong dudes, and I think that lends itself to a conversation we were having a little earlier. A lot of people think Division II football, and they kind of think that it's not great. There are some big time athletes at this, especially in this conference. Every roster in the conference has guys who transfer from D1 schools. It's big time college football that you're playing here. Was that kind of a surprise to you when you got here? Did you kind of feel the same way? Or?
Well, yeah, and I knew coming in here we had a guy like Jamie Meter,
right.
And I was coming in as a freshman, so there was all that talk about him getting a chance at the NFL, and then after that, playing teams like a Grand Valley and seeing their guys that they had on the field, and then even a year after that, playing a guy who's on the Ravens now, then Matt Judon, going up against him, and then a guy like I played with the last 2 years, Adam Sheen, who's in the NFL now. So I think it's just you get those guys that fall through the cracks and somehow end up at these schools and play great Division II football and have great careers, and then teams notice that, and once they see him, they give him a chance, and now all three of those guys are in the NFL, still having good careers, doing what they love to do. They just want to play football. So, there's a couple guys on that Ferris State defense that, especially that number 96, Zach Ziegler, or something like that.
He's going to be playing on Sundays.
He'll be there soon, and he's huge. And some of the times I could almost feel him just like he was just a presence, and you knew where he was all the time. You see those players all the time at Division II, and I don't think. There is probably a gap, in Division I, Division II. I wouldn't know, I didn't play that, I just watch it. But at Division I, they're still football players. We're all the same age. We're all doing the same thing. We're all working hard. Lifting weights, going out and practicing, and I'm sure it's a little different, but from having experience playing with those guys and playing against some of those guys, I think that the door's always open. I think potential. You can set it as high as you want to set it, and put yourself in good programs like a Grand Valley or a Ferris State or even Ashland, who's produced some. And I think with good connections and good history and like a good program, I think there's players that maybe will be on the fence between D1 or Ashland, and might come to an Ashland because they're going to play, but they could still might have a chance at making their dreams come true and playing at the next level.
And you guys, it's never happened before, I don't think, in the history of Ohio high school football. You guys have a Mr. Football who's playing here. Keyshawn Sims is a running back. I think that does nothing but elevate the profile of your program. To have like big time guys come in like that. Does it elevate? You think?
I think so. It's exciting for me to see a guy like that come in and play here and have an impact like he did last year and the impact he's having this year. I think that I know that there were Division I schools that wanted him, and then for him to come to a school, Division II school like this, I think that's exactly what I was just talking about, where you get those guys who are borderline, on the fence at D1 or a school like Ashland or Grand Valley or Ferris State, and I think you kind of, I'm going to play, I'm going to get a good education, and teams are still going to find me if I have a good career, and they'll find me if I'm good enough, I think.
Right.
So I definitely think getting a guy like Keyshawn and seeing the career he's having playing right away, I think, kids coming out of high school like that kind of stuff,
right.
They want to play. So I think that's good for the program.
So you talked a little bit having Adam Shaheen here the last couple of years. He was a college basketball player before he was a football player, and you were a 4-year. If you and Adam Shaheen play one-on-one, who's going to win that in basketball?
He's going to beat me. He'll beat me. He's a little bigger. I'll give him all I got, but he'll probably come on.
Having him here the last 3 years, I would imagine that's a quarterback's. It's like waking up Christmas morning and opening a new present. It's having a 6'7" guy who can go get everything. What's that like?
It was great. We had good chemistry. We kind of knew,
right.
Where to throw the ball and where he was going to be, type thing. And I always grew up in high school, and then I always loved trusting the tight end. Throwing
right.
to the tight end, and that was kind of like my safety net. I always felt like the tight end. But then getting a guy like that, not the safety net, I want to throw the ball to him. So,
sure.
It was cool to have him. We're great friends outside of it. I still talk to him today now that he's gone. He still hits us up. We were on the bus up to Northern Michigan. We FaceTimed. We were talking.
Mm-hmm.
And I asked him, how's it going? He asked me how it's going, stuff like that. And it's cool to still have that relationship, see him be successful, and it was easy to want to throw the ball to him.
Sure.
And, he broke that touchdown for tight end record last year with 16 touchdowns, and it's something that I don't know. The game's changing now, and there's a lot more tight ends are becoming more
right.
like an Adam Shaheen or a Travis Kelce or like a Rob Gronkowski. But that's a pretty impressive record, 16 touchdown catches in 1 year. That'll be tough to break, and I hope he holds it for as long as he can because I'm a part of that too. And,
sure.
That's just cool to see that a kid from Ashland like this, who was a basketball player, who's now in the NFL. Could have an impact and break that record. And
it's a small world. He's catching passes from the guy who Mitch Trubisky, who we talked about earlier. That's kind of unusual. Just to have that opportunity. Just changing gears a little bit. You're hosting homecoming this weekend. Northern Michigan comes to town. Just talk to us a little bit about what has to, or Michigan Tech. I'm sorry, not Northern Michigan. Just what are your thoughts on them, and then just the whole homecoming experience? You've had an awful lot of success on homecomings here.
Yeah. Starting with it being homecoming, it's one of those things. You get a lot of alumni come back,
sure.
guys you played with before, and kind of your chance to not make them miss it because everyone already misses it. I'm sure once it's done, you're going to miss it enough. But it's one of those things, kind of want to make them proud. I played with him. I had a part in his success, and it's always cool to see a lot of those players that I played with in years past come back, and it's kind of just good vibes all around. Sit back and think, I remember playing out here with a guy like Dan Pico back then, or Matt Schweitzer, who his little brother's playing with us now, Mike,
mm-hmm.
and just seeing those guys come back for homecoming and being able to just kind of show off and show them that they had a part in all this success is really cool. And with a team like Michigan Tech coming in. They're physical. They're always physical. They always hit hard. They always, they're well coached. They're smart, and they don't make many mistakes. That's for sure. So we're just gonna have to, from the offensive side, throw the ball, but like we always do, mix up a good run and pass, but be able to throw the ball when they give it to us, and just take what they give us, get our guys in space, and let a guy like Matt Wilcox or Cameron Green make plays with the ball like they always do when they get it in their hands. So. That's kind of where we're at right now, and we still got a couple days of practice before that comes, so we'll see if anything changes. But like I said, Michigan Tech's always a physical team. It's one of the teams that knocked us out of the playoffs last year. So we're going into it, and we'd like to get these guys back from last year. One of the games that fueled me all summer long and all off season, and it's definitely one. I owe these guys for sure.
Sure.
I've been looking forward to it this whole time, and we'll be ready. Like I said, it's a championship game. One game at a time. It's the championship week. That's how we're looking at it.
You are rapidly closing in on 10,000 passing yards and 100 touchdowns. Are those numbers you can even wrap your head around? Did you ever imagine 5 years ago now that you'd be sitting here talking about that sort of number?
I didn't even know that those I didn't know where those numbers were at, like the record wise and all that. I didn't know what the numbers were, like what I had to throw for, all that. I came in here, I wanted to be the next Taylor Housewright. I wanted to fill his shoes, and I wanted to, grow past that. I wanted to be better than he was, and hopefully take this team places that he couldn't. And he did a lot of good things for the team when he played. Sure. But I wanted to be the next Taylor Housewright, but I wanted to be better than him. So, to have the success I've had, all those touchdown passes, all those yards, all that, it's been great. Like I said, I wouldn't trade it for anything. But to go along with it, I've had a lot of great players play around me. A guy like Adam, probably maybe 30 of those touchdown catches.
Right.
A third of my touchdowns. So to be able to throw the ball like that, it's definitely easier. All those guys catching the ball, making plays once they catch the ball. I just throw it to them. They do the easy job.
Right.
Then, not to mention, 4 out of our 5 starters on offensive line have played 2 and a half, 3 years with me this whole time.
Right.
So we got a great chemistry with that. They care for me, I care for them, and they want to take care of me and make sure that good things happen because they know that they give me time, take care of me. They know that they trust me enough to get us in the right play and get the ball on time if they do their job right. So they work harder than any group that I know here. They hands down work the hardest, and it's motivating to see those guys work hard because it all starts with them. If they don't do their job, then it's going to be hard to run any type of football play.
And then after that, there's only 4 or 5 weeks left here, plus potentially a postseason. The end is clearly in sight now. Is there a greater sense of urgency, I guess, for you?
Yes and no. No, because I just try and stay calm.
Right.
I don't want to think about the end, but I know. I just looked at the sheet the other day. I'm like, wow, it's already week 7.
Mm-hmm.
We're more than halfway done with guaranteed games, and I'm like, it's crazy to think about that. Thinking back, like we talked about my first game here ever. I can't believe that this time's already here. It flew by. So, I don't want to have any letdowns. I don't want to have any disappointments.
Sure.
So, it definitely hits you deep when it starts winding down and the emotions come into play and you don't maybe get a little more on edge and get on people because you don't want any disappointments. Like I said, you
Sure.
don't want any letdowns like we had last year. And it sucks seeing it come to an end, but hopefully we can ride this year out as long as possible
right.
and make some things happen and get a chance in the playoff game like we talked about.
Right.
Have you given any thought to post Ashland University life, declaring or anything like that?
Yeah, I would love to keep playing football after this. Wherever that opportunity may be, who knows? I'm kind of just haven't really thought about it too much, but I know for sure I want to keep playing football. I don't think I can just hang it up after this, especially having a good football background like my dad and my mom, all the support that I get. It's awesome to have that support, and I love football too much, and I don't want to stop playing it. I think I'll always have a part in it. Even the guys when I'm gone here, like I'll probably text them and help them out as much as I can, next spring to get them ready. So I love football. I truly don't think I'll be able to just stop playing football. So I'll have to do something with it. I'm not exactly sure where the opportunity is going to present itself, whether it's here, arena, something, somewhere else. But I'm open to a whole lot of things, and I just want to play football. I love playing football. So as long as I can keep doing that, I'll be pretty happy.
Sure.
Well, good. We appreciate you coming over and taking some time to join us. And if you don't have anything going on Saturday, folks, you could come on over to Jack Miller Stadium and see Travis and the Eagles take on Michigan Tech. I want to get it right. It's a 1 o'clock kickoff. So, Travis, again, thanks for being here. We certainly appreciate it, and we'll good luck to you this week and down the road. And I'm sure we'll be talking to you.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Travis Tarnowski, everyone. Thanks.